The camera opens on a solemn hall where the world's attention is focused on a joint press conference. The Israeli Prime Minister adjusts his papers before leaning forward, his voice steady but grave. He recounts a recent private conversation. "I said to the Prime Minister of Qatar, Israel was targeting terrorists, not the people of Qatar. Of course, we regretted the loss of Qatari citizens. They were not our target." The words resonate across the hall, acknowledging the human cost of conflict while insisting on Israel's intent. The narrator explains that the remark refers to a difficult moment when Israeli military operations struck sites linked to Hamas in Gaza and tragic civilian casualties included Qatari nationals. The statement aims to reassure Doha that Israel's actions were focused on militant infrastructure rather than on any state or its citizens. Turning to the issue of Gaza's future, the Israeli leader notes that he appreciates the position taken by Washington that the Palestinian Authority in its current form cannot be allowed to re-enter Gaza without what he calls a radical and genuine transformation. The narrator adds that this has been one of the most contentious points in post-war planning, whether the authority based in Ramallah can be trusted to govern Gaza after years of division with Hamas. The Prime Minister's voice grows firmer as he reminds the audience of the day that set all of this in motion. "We will never forget the horrors of October 7th, and we will do whatever is necessary to make sure they don't happen again." The narrator underscores that the date refers to the coordinated cross-border assault by Hamas militants that left over 1,000 dead and hundreds taken hostage, shattering Israeli security assumptions and triggering the prolonged war. He continues, explaining that Israel's enemies have learned a hard truth. "Those who attack us pay a heavy price, but those who partner with us advance progress and security for their peoples." The voiceover notes that this line is meant both as a warning to hostile actors and an invitation to regional neighbours who might choose cooperation over confrontation, rather than waiting, as he puts it, for this miraculous transformation in the Palestinian Authority. The Prime Minister praises the new plan proposed by the United States. The narrator clarifies for viewers that this plan envisions a transitional administration in Gaza, one that is neither Hamas nor the existing Palestinian Authority, but instead a coalition of local leaders and regional partners committed to genuine peace and coexistence with Israel. "This can be not only a new beginning for Gaza," the Israeli leader asserts, "I think it can be a new beginning for the entire region." The narrator elaborates that this vision aligns with the broader strategy of expanding the Abraham Accords, the set of normalization agreements brokered in 2020 between Israel and several Arab countries. In a lighter aside, the Prime Minister even comments on the name of the Accords. "Under your leadership, we can re-energize the Abraham Accords." That's what it's called in the original Hebrew, Abraham. Abraham is fine, however you want to call it. The narrator notes that the aside draws a faint ripple of laughter in the room, but also signals a desire to revive the momentum of Arab-Israeli reconciliation, which had stalled during the months of heavy fighting. The journalist's voiceover deepens the context. The reference to re-energizing the Accords is not just symbolic. Israeli officials hope that a secure and reconstructed Gaza could open the door for further Arab states to join the normalization track, seeing in it a chance for economic growth and reduced regional tensions. Yet skepticism remains widespread, with critics doubting that any plan can succeed without addressing long-standing political grievances. As the speech continues, the Israeli leader reiterates the core principle that Israel will not accept a return to the pre-war status quo in Gaza. The narrator highlights that this includes a categorical rejection of any Hamas military presence and a demand for long-term security guarantees before Israeli forces can fully withdraw. The voiceover then shifts to describe the mood in the hall, journalists tapping notes, cameras capturing every gesture, and aides on both sides listening intently. The Prime Minister repeats that he is ready to work with partners willing to ensure peace and stability. He closes that portion of his statement with a pointed reflection. The real choice for regional actors is between the devastation that comes from attacking Israel and the opportunity that comes from joining hands in cooperation. The journalist narrator interjects, "These remarks, delivered in a calm yet resolute tone, are meant to frame Israel not only as a state defending itself, but as a willing participant in a future regional order built on cooperation." The emphasis on lessons learned after October 7th, that aggression brings ruin while partnership brings prosperity, is intended for both allies and adversaries listening across the region. The voiceover continues with background that helps the audience understand the larger stakes. The conflict that erupted after October 7th has dragged on for months, leaving thousands dead and Gaza in ruins. Rebuilding the territory will require billions in aid, complex security arrangements and trust among actors that have long distrusted one another. The US-backed plan, which the Israeli leader publicly endorses in this speech, seeks to create an interim authority with international oversight to handle reconstruction and civilian administration while ensuring Hamas cannot rearm. The narrator explains that this is why the Israeli Prime Minister's recognition of the plan as practical and realistic is significant. It signals a willingness to share some responsibility for Gaza's future governance with a wider international coalition, rather than insisting on unilateral Israeli control. In the final passages of his statement, the Prime Minister again underscores that the world must not forget the price Israel paid on October 7th. "We will never forget the horrors," he says, "and we will do whatever is necessary to make sure they don't happen again." The narrator remarks that the repetition of this line at both the beginning and the end of his comments underlines how central that day remains to Israeli strategic thinking. As the session wraps up, the cameras catch the Prime Minister exchanging a few words with his American counterpart, a visible sign of coordination. The narrator closes the segment by observing that what was said here is more than a series of prepared lines. It reflects an ongoing negotiation over the post-war order in Gaza and the broader Middle East, a negotiation in which security imperatives, humanitarian concerns and geopolitical ambitions all collide. For the audience watching, the journalist's voice offers this final contextual note. The coming months will reveal whether the plan endorsed in these remarks can be implemented on the ground, whether Gaza can truly see a new beginning under an administration committed to peace, and whether the lessons invoked by the Israeli leader will shape the choices of both friends and foes across the region.